central matters in the Torah. Therefore, you have to be told, you have to, that which is forbidden is forbidden. Even that which is permitted to you, you'll have to be holy. Kadesh atzmacho v'mutar lecho. That which is permitted to you, you also should be holy. Now, that's a whole different idea. Kedoshim tiyu doesn't mean things that are mentioned as being evil. Even making offense for them, that's understandable. You have to do it. It means that in that what the Torah permitted you, that's where you have to be. That's where you have to be tremendously. That's where you have to be a mensch. That's what the Chassidim meant by saying that which is forbidden is forbidden. But that which is permitted, not always you need it. Not always you have to have it the way you imagine. You can get by, had it caught, with a small amount as well. You don't need to. And like he uses the expression, the Ramban, you don't need to be chas v'sholem a novel for a shus ha-Torah. You don't have to be a grober mensch, with the permission of the Torah. So im kain, that follows, and there's a big cloud in Yiddishkeit, that a Jewish person has to be holy, dafki in the things that he is allowed to do, dafki in the things you do, not the things you're not supposed to do. That you got to keep away from. As far as the arrow shoots, you got to keep away from that. Even what is permitted, there we see what you like. That's where we see whether you're holy or not, and that's what it means that the Jewish people are holy, and that's what it means. Ani Hashem. So im came what's he because Ani Hashem, Ani Hashem Elokechem. We should say that according to the Ramban, it's not easy to be holy even in what is permitted to you. That even if you do, you got a hechsher from the Badatza from some other Rav or some other, who knows what, and even there you have to be careful. That, you have to have a lot of what's called Mesinas Koyach. You have to have a lot of spiritual power for that. And therefore, like we learned somewhat in connection to Rashi, Ki Ani Hashem Elokechem. The Abish is the emes of holiness. The emes have withdrawn us from everything. Hashem will give you the koyach. Hashem, He will see that you're being, as it were, holy. He will cause His Shekhinah to dwell in you. And remember that power of the Elikus inside you, and you'll be close to Elikus the whole time, because you'll be trying, and the Elikus will be inside you, and therefore you'll be always careful. You won't be eating peaches and cream your whole life. And if it follows that that's a very interesting pshat. If we'll learn it that way, Ani Hashem Elokechem ki, because Ani Kodesh, Ani Hashem Elokechem is like a form of a promise almost, that if you will be holy in even what is permitted to you, then Hashem will dwell with you. He'll be with you, and He will give you good. Now, such a pshat is brought down by the Orach Chaim HaKodesh. The Orach Chaim HaKodesh, he learns a pshat like that. And he says that if you make an effort and you try to make yourself holy, even the things which are permitted to you, then you bring a dwelling of the Shekhinah that makes you very close to the Shekhinah. Because since you become muvdal, you could have done what you like with it. Now, if it became Yeshua Hashem, that you want to be separate, even there you want to be separate, well, that puts you into the separation bracket of Hashem. That links you up with Him in a very real way. And if He dwells with you, He helps you, like we learned earlier in the name of the Panei Brother, it's like a divine assistance already begins to function in your life as a result of that. I mean, it's a very amazing principle, and it's very far-reaching, this idea of the Ramban, that it comes to teach, like the whole human race, as you might say, that Hashem didn't mean us just to be kasher zinners the whole time in things He permitted. Hashem meant us to use them in a holy way, in a good way, in a proper way, and to use them for the right purpose, that they were men. And then you never fall away, and you never fall into what the Alter Rebbe calls in Tanya Taivas Aguf, all those things. You don't fall into all that, but therefore you always remain distant from Avera. And that's what Rashi says. You don't fall into an Avera. You don't get into the whole concept of Avera. So, that links a certain idea which was brought down by the Rabbeinu Avadia Sopono. He brings it down. And that links, maybe to a certain extent, Rashi could also be hinting to that. That links up with another idea, and that is that one of the reasons we were created, or one of the things in our whole creation, is that we're similar to Hashem. Hashem created the mensch in his image, like we saw in Bereshit. Vayivra Elokim es ha'adam b'tzalmai, it was his form and his shape, as it were, b'tzelem dmus tavnisoi, that Hashem created man like similar to himself. And therefore we find in our sages and all over, and it's even mashma in the Torah in certain places, that we should be like Hashem. We should try to, as it were, liken ourselves to Hashem. And therefore it says the Saporno, that that's exactly the idea. Why is Hashem required to be holy in the way we described? Why does Hashem want that? One of the whole purposes in your creation was that you should be like Him. He wanted to elevate man, that he should be similar to him, as it were. We should become, as it were, similar to divinity. I mean, just like Hashem is withdrawn completely, he's moved out. So in the same way, if we keep ourselves separate, even where we could have just done what we like, but we keep ourselves separately, we make ourselves holy, then, as it were, we become like Hashem. We in some way compare ourselves to Hashem. Therefore he said, Ki Kodesh Ani Hashem Elokechem, and I want you to be like me. Since I'm Kodesh, then you guys have to be Kodesh also. All right, there's a difference between it. After all, there is a difference between me and you, but you are required to do your utmost to be like me, as it were. And that elevates a person to the real reason of his creation. And to a certain extent, then he does become like Hashem. We'll see later on that some people learn in a very simple way that we can, mamish, be almost like Hashem. So that's what the Saporna says, and that's also another very basic idea, that there's an inyan that the Eibusha wanted to elevate man, that he be like almost like a partner to the divinity, and he should be similar to Hashem in every possible way. And therefore we find the Gemara in the Sector Seit, as we're learning now, that you duffing back. The Gemara brings over that, you have to copy Hashem. You have to, like Hashem is merciful, you have to be merciful. Hashem visits the sick, you have to visit the sick. Hashem buried Moshe, you have to bury people. You have to do all sorts of good things because Hashem does them. And that's the way you should do them. And we find that as a big cloud throughout. And the Gemara points out at the same time, you can't really be like Hashem, like we just pointed out, because Hashem is divine, and He's a consuming fire. How can we be like Hashem? But we can approximate by doing what He does, then we become like Him, as it were. And here it's even deeper. Since Hashem is withdrawn, then you have to be withdrawn, not just in other words, that the whole idea of not doing things in the law, in the sense of negative commandments, becomes a very holy idea. It develops out further into a whole concept of being holy, even where it's permitted. A whole new idea. So there was that. The Ramban answers that it's not the same as what was written over there in the end of the last part. It's a whole new idea. It's a whole new idea to even be holy in that which is permitted. Okay, so I want now to refer to a medrash, which is written in the Medrash Rabbah. We're going to get on to a very amazing shot, which was introduced probably by the Baal Shem Tov himself into this whole inyan, but his grandson, the Baal Shem Tov's grandson, brings it down for the first in his great sefer called the Degel Machanei Ephraim, and then numerous other people, even Talmudim of the Maggid and others, refer to this whole idea. So in order to get onto that whole idea, I want to mention a medrash which is brought down. If if I can find it without a great deal of. Oh, here we are. Oh, I found it. So, comes on the Medrash and Medrash Rabbah, and it brings down Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish. Now, Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, he's an Amoira brought down in Gemara, and he's called Reish Lakish. You might have met up with him. He's called Reish Lakish. But his full name is Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, and he says like this, that there's a couple of parashas which are written in the Torah, and he said we can learn the purity and understand those parashas from Parei Harosha, from the evil king of Egypt, from Parei. And he said, what are they? So he said it's written a passage in Dvorim, in the blessings which are given to the Jewish people there, just before all the the retributions are put down. And it's written over there, and you will be always only above, and you'll never be below. So it says the Medrash, the most amazing thing, it says, Yochel Kamoini. Maybe you'll be able to be like me. I was the aim is to say, you'll always be above and you'll never be down. So the Mephoshim point out that if that would have been mentioned in a relative way, we might have said, well, it's not talking about being like Hashem. But since it says, Oyisa Rak Lamaila, only above and not Lamata, then it appears to be no Mata anymore, only Lamaila. So therefore, maybe that could mean you can be like me, says Hashem. He says, no. That's why I write in the Pasuk, yeah, Rak. That's why I put in not the word Rak meaning like you meant, but I put in the word Rak meaning, no, that's casting it down a little bit. My greatness will always be greater than your greatness. In other words, I'm going to put you up on the highest level, but I'll always be higher. So some people come along and say, well, that's pretty obvious, isn't it? We're never going to be on the same level as Hashem. Mamish, why would Hashem say, Yochel Kameni? Maybe you might think that you can be like me. No, you're not going to be quite like me, because the word Rak means like a limitation. You're not going to be quite like me. And when we learn that, says Reish Lakish, we learn it from Parei. Because Parei, when he freed Joseph from the prison, he said to him, oh, you're the man I've been looking for. You're going to be over my whole household, and you're going to run my whole country. That's what he said to Yosef. So it says in Medrash, Atoti Yel Beisi, you will be in charge of my whole household and my whole thing. Yochel Kamoini, or you might think you'll be like me. And he says, Talmud Lema, Racha Kisei, only the throne I'll keep higher than you. Like me, Gedulosi, Lamaila me Gedulasa. My greatness is going to be more than yours. So in other words, Parei Harosha, he said to Yosef, you're going to be tremendously great, but you're going to be second to me. I'm going to be always greater than you. It's true, Parei said that. So, says Reish Lakish, we also learn from that, going to get to our parsha. The Torah says, Kadoshim to you. Why? Ki ani Hashem Elokechem Yochel Kamoini. Maybe you think you'll be like me, you'll be as holy as what I am. No, he said, Ani Hashem Elokechem. I always remain what I am, and my Kedusha is always more than what yours is. So I come along certain people and they say, well, I mean, that's pretty obvious. I mean, obviously Hashem's always going to be more than what a man's going to be. Hashem is incomparable beyond a man, you know. And what was the spot of the thing that maybe you might be like me? Maybe you could be like me. Oh no, you're not going to be like me. And where do I have to learn that from? I have to learn from Parei. I mean, first of all, whatever Parei says doesn't really bother anybody. Number one, and number two, why do we have to learn it from Parei? It seems to be obvious. So there's another authority here in the Medrash. What he wants to say that the Ani, which is written, is different, and he learns quite an amazing shot. But it doesn't have to do with what we just said. So it's a pretty amazing sort of thing. Why would I think that I might be able to be like Hashem, and then he said, no, you can't be like me, and I learned that from Pare. So I must admit that that one rather had me baffled, has me baffled for quite a bit, and I know a sefer what he talks about this, and I left it at home instead of bringing it with me. I left the sefer at home. And so I'm very chagrined about the fact that I left the safe at home, but I can't help it. I wasn't going to pay a taxi, especially to go all the way over. So, what we suggest, I saw in another sefer, one of the Talmudim of the Mezrit Shemagi, and he wants to say like this, that the whole thing that the Abisha comes on and says, listen, my Kedusha is more than what yours is. You can't really compare my Kedusha to yours. And he says, like this, that in the previous, not in the previous, but in the other Parashas Acharei, at the beginning, it's written, in reference to Yom Kippur, it's written over there, that Ani Hashem, how does it go? Shoichin itchem b'toik tumasechem. I dwell with you even amongst all your impurities. So we see from that Hashem, who is the holiest of all holies, he's able to dwell even amongst how do you call it? Those people who are Tomei. Even if there's tumah and there's impurity, none of us Hashem dwell. So there might come along a man, and a man, he might think, oh well, I'll also dwell with Hashem, even though I'm a bit impure. In other words, I'll do what I like in the world, but I'll always admit that Hashem is the one who runs the world, and I'll always be with Him. How do they say it over here? These people, well, my heart is good. I really mean good in my heart. In action, I'm not so good, but my heart's in the right place. I really believe everything, etc., etc. So therefore says this particular Pirush, he says, look, so he says, I'll be like Hashem. Hashem also is pure, but he dwells with the impure. So I'm impure and I dwell with the pure. I'm sort of the other way around, So he said, maybe I can just be like Hashem and I can get away with what I want. I can still claim that I believe and I'm fine, everything's okay. So there he said, no, Hashem's Kedusha is beyond your Kedusha. What does it mean? That Hashem's Kedusha is such that he is be'emes separate from everything. As it's put down and considered that something is be'emes separate, completely and utterly, can be anywhere and in any madrega, and nothing will touch it, because it's always betachlis. Therefore Hashem, since he's by definition absolutely incomparably separate from everything, he can be even where there's tumah, and it doesn't prevent him being there, because nothing really attaches him. He's Seivev, which are Seivev Kolamin. Seivev Kolamin is not spoiled from the Bria at all. So that's Hashem's Kiddush. But your Kiddush is not that way. You think you can sort of be holy and at the same time not holy. Oh no, you can't. If you want to really be holy, you've got to do things the whole way that Hashem wants. Not think you can play your game, because you'll get your Kedusha and your Tumah mixed up in such a way that they will make it impossible for Hashem to come to you. Because you'll have them mixed up and confused. And therefore, you can't compare your Kedusha to the Kedusha of Hashem. Why do we have to learn that from Pare? To show that it's a kol v'chema, that even by a Goyish king who was a Rasha, there's a certain thing in a king, a person who's an emes a king, he's murtal, and that's what he said to Yosef, Racha Kisei, there's something about a throne of a king that makes him withdrawn from everything, and that's why he's able to be a boss over everything, and to mix into all the things, and yet not become really involved, because he's got a very special type of withdrawal from everyday things, a king. And therefore he said to Yosef, I'm very different. Even though you're going to be tremendously great, but I'm not going to let you quite get to the greatness of an emes king. And if we can learn that from a Russian, then how much more so it is by the Abishah. And therefore the Abishah said, don't think that your kedusha is like mine, and you can get away with him, being living in two camps. I can do that because I'm withdrawn completely. But what should not see this? I am Shiur Klalli that if I'm not nishpol for shum inim b'habriya. Over you, which is a human, you're cocking away with a virus and think you're still with me. No, you can't learn from me at all. And therefore, that's the pshat kedushosi lamayla me kedushas. That's how I saw in a sefer. He learns it. Maybe we could learn that. Maybe comfortable with it. That's the pshat in the Medrash. However, it appears that the Baal Shem Tov came along and he said a pshat in this Medrash. His Einikul, his grandson, the Degel Machne Ephraim, he gives over this pshat. And that begins what quite a number of people mention as it's brought down in quite a number of Sfarim in the name of the great Talmudim of the Baal Shem Tov or the Maggid or other people. It always seems to somehow or another occur every now and then. And that's like that. And he says that the Medrash means like this. That the Medrash says that Kedoshim Tiyu, you have to be holy. Yochel Kamoini, you might think like me. So the Baal Shem Tov's Einikul, he says the word Yochel means it can be that way. And so he says it can be that way in the simple, the Medrash means it not as a kasha, but it means it as a statement. Yochel Kamoini, you can be like me. In other words, your holiness could be like my holiness. So, he says something that's very good, fits in beautifully with the second parak of Tanya. He said, because Yidden are a chelik elekam mimal. Yidden are a chip off the old block. Yidden are, their neshamas are a divine portion. And therefore, Yochel Kamini, yes, you can be like me. Yes, you can really be like me. What does it mean, kedushosi, lamayla me kedusha? My kedusha is higher than yours. No, that's not what it means. It means kedushosi lamayla. My kedusha, the way it is in the high world, mi kedusha aschem. It's from your kedusha. Through the fact that you make me holy, that's how I have my emes holy. I just told that on the store. In other words, the Baal Shem Tov's Einikul takes the whole thing and he turns it right round the other way. Yochel Kamini, yes, you can be like me. Kedushosi l'mayla mi kedusha aschem. My kedusha, the way it is in the holy world, is all from your kedusha. Why? Because you guys are achilek elakam me'mayal mame. And what you do, that's what I'm like. And remember, that will make very good sense of what the Maggid said. The Mezrach Maggid said on the mitzvah to blow trumpet. The word for trumpet is chatzoitra. That's in Hebrew, chatzoitra. Chatzoitra can be taken as two syllables. Chatzoi tzura, halves of the same shape. And the Maggid said that Yidden and the Eibush are like two halves. The Eibush without Yidden is not complete, and the Yidden without the Eibush are not complete. Therefore, the Eibush's kedusha, kaviyochel, is dependent, as it were, in us. In other words, the way you are, that's the way you affect things l'mayla. That's the way the Eibushter, kaviyochel, is. And therefore, that's the whole inan. The Eibushter's in Golas just as much as what we are. Golas and the exile is nogeh to Hashem, just the same as it is to us. Golas Hashchina. Farosh Golas Hashchina, because we are literally part of Hashem. And if we're down in the dumps, how do you call it, down in the mud, Rachmon Mitzvah Hashem is also. Because Yochel Kamini, maybe you're like me, yes, you are. And that means that the word, and that's what the Maggid said about the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, where we had it last week. Da Amar Shel Lamayla Mimbo. You should know that what is Lamayla is from you. Not you should know what is beyond you, but you should know what is Lamayla Mimcha. It's all from you. That's a very amazing and different shot. So came along the Harikonim, the Mechel is latitude. There was a famous Talmud of the Baal Shem Tov. He was a very great Talmud of the Baal Shem, very holy person, and he also knew the Alter Rebbe, but the Alter Rebbe didn't become his Talmud. The Alter Rebbe became Talmud of Shedamag. And the Mechel is latitude. He was a little bit independent. After the Baal Shem Tov, he didn't become a Talmud of the Maggid. He sort of like stayed a bit on his own. We don't understand these inyanim. But anyway, he was an unbelievably great man. And he also says the same shot. And he says that Yochel Kameni, the Medrash means, maybe you can be like me. And that's what it means, that you can. And Kedushoski Lamaila is from your Kedusha down here. As Mamela, it'll follow the reason given. Ki Kodesh Ani Hashem Elokechem. Well, that will make sense. Yeah, why are you able to be like me, and why is my Kedusha dependent on you? Because my Kedusha and your Kedusha are the same. And therefore the reason you have to be like me is because that's the way I am. And you can be like me. It's a whole different world, a whole different shot. And we have unbelievable powers. Yidden have unbelievable. And that's why the Rebbe said that on Koches Nisan, the Rebbe said there would be 10 Yidden that would really make a decision that they want to bring Moshiach. And they would really mean it, and they would really trade. So we want Moshiach now. Then it would be. And the Alter Rebbe said even deeper than that. Well, what deeper? I mean, the Alter Rebbe said different than that. And there's a very famous Maimon from the Alter Rebbe where he said even if there be one tzaddik anywhere in the world who really would, be obstinate about bringing Mashiach, then Mashiach would come. Why is that? Because all Yidden are literally, they're equal with the Evshikav. Yochel come in. You can be like me. And you are in a way, and you have tremendous powers and tremendous, to use the expression, protectia with the Evshikav. So, in order to complete the whole inyan, you might ask, well, where do we get that power from? How do we reveal that in ourselves? How do we bring it out? How do we make it functional? How do we bring it out? So the answer is if you learn Torah. If you give yourself over to Torah, and you just learn Torah without messing around, and you learn Torah lishma, you just keep hammering away, and you don't sort of make those explain this all. I need to go and slow for another 10 hours, and I have to eat a big meal now, otherwise I can't do this, I can't do that. I'm a slipper, and I'm a hin, and I'm a hair. That's not the way. The way is that you got to devote yourself, give yourself over to Torah. If you give yourself over to Torah, then Ki Ani Hashem Elokechem. Well, that's like I said, that's the name that Hashem gives himself at Matan Torah. Anochi Hashem Elokecho, yeah? That's what it is. Yeah, Hashem Elokechem or Elokecho is all the same. That's the name at Matan Torah. And therefore the Rebbe Rashab brings down a famous Maimah that there's two types of Kedusha. We say 3 Kedushas. Kodesh, Kodesh, Kodesh. Every day we say 3 times Kodesh. So it's also got to do with the soul theme. But just very briefly, he said there's 2 of those Kedushas come from us. Just like what we're saying. But we, as it were, we are similar to the Avis Kedusha, as it were. And then the third one, how the Avishta, he relates to us with his Kedusha. And in a way, our Kedusha symbolizes to him, but ultimately, we have to have his Kedusha. What is that? So the first one is, the first Kodesh is that you got to be, you got to be a bit of a extremist. You got to want to get out of everything. You got to have a rotoi. You know what a rotoi is? You got to want to yearn to get out of things. Rotoi v'shoy. You got to yearn to get upwards. And that's b'chol mi'edecha. You got to have, I want to serve Hashem with all my power, all my might. And that's in of going up. You have to have that, how do you call it, that desire. And that's the kedusha of the neshama. But she doesn't want to get caught up in all this shtus in the world. She wants to get out and have to do be'etzim with the Eibusha Kamoshu. And that's a very high madrega called B'chol Miyei, with the whole of your unlimitedness. That's one thing. And then there's another kedusha, which is the kedusha of mitzvah. Here we keep mitzvah, we do Hashem's will. Then that does work. That brings holiness into the world. We bring down kedusha through the fact that we have a shaykhus to kedusha. We bring down kedusha into the world. And if you have b'chol meidecha first, then the way you do the mitzvahs is you do them very specially. And that's the two levels of rotzoi v'shoy. Going out and yet coming back to do what you're supposed to do. And then the third kodesh, that's ki ani Hashem Elokeichem. The third kodesh, that's Torah. And Torah unites these other two kodesh. If you learn Torah, then they find their right path. The Bnei Aaron at the beginning of the previous Pasha, they went out too much. They had this tremendous desire to go out, and they just went out, and they got burned. Their souls got burned. They just went up. That's what the Orach HaKodesh learned. That's how Siddur teaches it also. They just went too far. You got to keep mitzvahs in the world, and you got to do the rotzim in the world. But if you have the type of rotzim that they have, then you do it very differently. And you're very devoted. So how can you be like in two different things like that together? And what gives you the power to make, to be out of the world, and at the same time bring divinity into the world? Well, that's the Torah. That's all. Ani ki kodesh, ani Hashem Elokeichem. Hashem, the way the Eibusha is, and man Torah, that gives you the emes of kedusha. That's the emes of separateness, and the emes ability to unite the two extreme, as it were, lines that you have to have. One is you got to want to get out altogether and be united with Hashem, kiddu, leave the whole world behind. The other one is to come back and do Hashem's will. That's what we're learning in the Manas we're going to see. The Bnei Aaron couldn't quite make that, but Rabbi Akiva did. It's about Rabbi Akiva that he had the most tremendously high aliyah, but he came back. Why? Because he had Hashem Elokeichem, Ani Hashem Elokeichem. He had him begolui in his Torah. And remember, he saw the emes power of the Ein Sof to unite the two things together, and that's in Torah. So if we learn Torah, and particularly the Rebbe's Torah, so we listen to the Rebbe, the way the Rebbe teaches us Torah, then we got it. We're not going to get too far